He is telling the truth. Immigrant did how, who, when, and when you ask them, give me some dates. Did these immigrants do all this? They start talking about Ellis Island and all this stuff. But I want y'all to understand something. Now, let's be very clear. Now, what they'll try to do when we start pinning them to the mat, they will try to do a little flimsy thing, trying to compare us to immigrants. But no. They only do that when we pin them to the mat. I want y'all to understand something about that narrative, family. I want y'all to really follow me on this. Follow me. I want you to understand what they're doing when they say that. When they say immigrants built this country, they're not saying that we're immigrants. They know we're not immigrants. They know that. They're not saying that foundational Black Americans are immigrants. They're saying that we don't exist. I want y'all to feel me. They're erasing us. They're saying that we don't count.
So the one thing that's being talked about right now, all through social media and all over the country and somewhat international, is Shaboozey's Grammy Award winning speech when he said that immigrants built this country. Now, it's Black History Month in America, the time when we commemorate and celebrate the accomplishments of foundational Black Americans. And on that day when he won his award, he stood up and he started to delineate and separate and said, this is for the immigrants, and immigrants built this country. He was giving reverence to him being Nigerian and his family, and that's fine, fair enough. I don't have a problem with him doing that. He's Nigerian. He's giving reverence to his family, his people, and all the things that they went through. But when we do the same, it shouldn't be a problem. When we call this out and we do the same, you guys should be quiet and shouldn't be saying anything about us and stop saying it's xenophobic and it's hatred. Because you can do it when it's beneficial to you, but then you want to also benefit from the blackness here in America, right? While at the same time telling us that we can't have our own identity. That's a problem. Another problem is you guys basically try to write off our history and say that we don't have a culture. When we have a culture, even educating some of your leaders, some of your greatest inspirational leaders in your country, from Nigeria to Ghana to South Africa. So many of them, you guys studied the America. Some even traveled to America to go to the universities. And these things are forgotten about because you guys come here and say that we don't have a history and say that immigrants built this country when knowing that we wasn't immigrants. Knowing that we were originally here in the land and some of our people was forcefully brought here through South Carolina and Virginia, some through through Florida. We were already here, right? We were here from the foundation of America. We built the railroads. We were here from the first industrial revolution from 1790 to 1860. We built the formation of America, the cities, the railroads from the South to the Midwest to the West Coast, right? We were innovators in helping to advance machineries, right? Our inventions, everything, to the point where you have educated Africans that respect Black Americans enough to even teach this.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to put my own people, my own South African people on game here because it seems as if they are so clueless. There's a historical amnesia when it comes to us as a people. So this right here is John Langalibalele Dube. You can see the dates where he was born. John Langalibalele Dube is the founding father, one of the founding fathers of the SANNC, the South African Native National Congress. You guys know it as the ANC. And John was influenced by this man right here, Booker Taliaferro Washington, who wrote the book Up From Slavery following the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. And here you have it right here. Dube enrolled in the Oberlin Preparatory Academy at the age of 16, the son of one of the first ordained pastors of the American Zulu Nationals. Right here, he went to Ohio. He studied in Ohio. Your founding father of the ANC that you all love very much, Nelson Mandela, Chief Albert Luthuli, Oliver Tambo, the founding father studied in Ohio, and he got training skills from African Americans. The Zulu Christian Industrial School was later renamed Ohlange Institute. Where does the Ohlange Institute? The American Tuskegee program, which directly, not indirectly, directly influenced John Langalibelele Dube. Here's the proof. Ohlanga High School was founded in 1900 after John Langalibelele Dube went to America asking Black Americans for money, asking them for money so he can fund and get the school running because he was inspired. This text right here, one of the most important texts, I'd even say, even for us as South Africans, we got to read this text because this guy talks about how Black people can now industrialize coming out of slavery. And if you know your history, you'd know that Black Americans were the most technically, technologically advanced Black people at the time. We were still living in huts when they were driving automobiles. We were still using spears and shields when these guys were fixing electricity circuits. They were doing the Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, the richest Black community in the world at that time, while we were in mines mining for whites. Okay, so get your facts straight, guys. Let's not hate these people. These people taught us so much. Vocational skills, reading and arithmetic, getting us into civilization because the technological gap between us and Abelungu was just so wide. So wide. Abelungu were just so far ahead of us. Now these guys were giving us some assists, trying to be like, hey, John Dube, do this. John Dube is talking to Booker T. He's like, hey man, look, I need my people to be a little bit industrialized here. I need them to go to school. I need them to be skilled. I need them to know how to speak English. And this guy was like, okay, I got you. Here, do this. Come on, guys. You guys need to really start reading pick up a book every now and then. Stop hopping on TikTok and getting in your feelings. Jeez, like it.
Now, with all the backlash that Shaboozey was getting from saying that immigrants built this country, when we know that prior to all the way up into, from 1860 to 1930, there had only been 100 to 180,000 Caribbean immigrants in this country. The numbers of African immigrants was hardly nothing, next to nothing, right? We know that there was over 12 million foundational Black Americans that was in this country at the time, and it was only about 246,000 Asians. So when you deal with Asians, when they say build the railroads, out of those 246,000, how many of them were males that was able to work? So now the number goes down significantly. And when you deal with the males that was able to work in the Caribbean part, no. The foundation of this was FBA Americans plowing the roads, some slaved and some freed, right? Doing the work. So now Shaboozey getting pushback, he had to come out and he said this. First and foremost, I want to express my deep gratitude to everyone who has supported and celebrated my journey as an artist. I also want to acknowledge the conversation surrounding my acceptance speech. To be clear, I know and believe that we black people have also built this country. My words were never intended to dismiss that truth. I am both a Black man and the son of Nigerian immigrants. And in the overwhelming moment of winning my first Grammy, my focus was on honoring the sacrifices my parents made by coming to this country and give me and my siblings opportunities they never had. At the same time, winning this award on the first day of Black History Month and becoming the first Black man to win Best Country Duo is Black history. It stands on the foundation laid by generations of Black people who fought, sacrificed, and succeeded long before me. This moment belongs to all of us. My entire career has been rooted in lifting people up, honoring where we came from, and expanding what's possible. I am proud to be part of this legacy, and I intend to continue doing that work for the rest of my life. With love, Shaboozey. Now, Shaboozey had to come out and do this because you're in somebody else's house where there are Black accomplishments. And with everything that's going on right now with immigrants so-called being under attack by ICE and Black Americans separating themselves and trying to let the world know of our accomplishments because we feel like we're being written off. For you to say that immigrants built this country, that was a problem. That was a problem. And even Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter, took umbrage with that. She even spoke out on that, right? But you also have people that are pulling up old videos, right? Where you had debates in the 60s, right? Debates in the 60s on what we were going through, right? James Baldwin and William Buckley even had these conversations. Check this out.
Immigrants built this country. If you're new here, my name is EP, your Black American guide to all things Black American history, culture, and conversation all year long. What some people may not know is this idea that immigrants built this country and the idea of the American dream didn't start with TikTok conversation, but it's been happening for quite some time now. It was historically weaponized against Black American people as a way to dismantle their case around things such as reparations. In 1965, James Baldwin had a debate against William Buckley centering a very similar topic. Baldwin argued that the idea of the American dream, or America being the land of opportunity, came at the expense of the American Negro, or in today's terms, Black American and or African American.
Not an overstatement. That I picked the cotton, and I carried it to market, and I built the railroads under someone else's whip for nothing. The Southern oligarchy, which has until today so much power in Washington, and therefore some power in the world, was created by my labor and my sweat, and the violation of my women and the murder of my children.
But Buckley, on the other hand, his argument was no, because my grandparents worked in this country too. And he used that argument as a way to support his stance that Black Americans' experience in this country wasn't enough to fully support the laws and policies that uplifted civil rights only.
This is a capitalization that was not created exclusively as a result of Negro travail. My great-grandparents worked too. Presumably yours worked also. I don't know of anything that has ever been created without the expense of something.
In this debate, James Baldwin didn't undermine the contributions of other people or how the United States exploited cheap labor, but rather he emphasized and highlighted who built this country because he knew that the U.S. has historically used the American dream at the expense of Native American and Black American people. So now what? Where do we go from here? Black History Month was originally started to address real issues. And as Black people in America, sometimes we're going to have uncomfortable conversations. We are human. Say it with me. We are human. Just because we're all Black doesn't mean that we're going to know everything about one another. And while we are learning things about one another and learning things about our first and second generation cousins and learning things about Black American people who have been on this land for hundreds of years, it's going to take for us to be mindful of the language that we use, because our progress in America is going to depend on it.
So we've been not only influencing the world through our innovations and our creativity, right? We've also been educating other Blacks that's been coming here and joining our struggle. And we've been an inspiration for other countries to go out and fight for their freedom, for what they see that we were doing here. And we've always opened up our arms for everybody. You can see when one of the South African leaders came here, we opened up our arms to the brother. We didn't turn him away. We didn't say we were separating and you wasn't a part of us. We opened up our arms for so many African leaders that came into the Americas, that intermingled with us, right? So now when you guys say that we don't have a culture, you just come and just say, well, immigrants built this country. And then you look at us with disdain. We don't have a history of looking at y'all with disdain. To this day, we still have millions of Pan-Africans that's in America that's upset with other FBA Americans for trying to have our own identity separate from y'all. That's how inclusive we are. You have a split between FBA Americans, where there's an argument going on where other FBA Americans are mad at us for delineating and want to have our own ID because they want to hold on to Pan-Africanism. And then you got a nerve to tell us that we ain't inclusive? We're very inclusive. We're too inclusive to our detriment. And this is why Tariq Nasheed said this.
I saw some other stuff where they were talking about him, Cynthia Erivo, and Tyler, the Creator. Shout out, it was some websites. Shout out to Ebos. They're all Ebos. Oh, Ebos are up. Shout out to the Ebos. That's just like that comedy sketch I did where they talk all this Black unity. Oh, we all Black. We can't say FBA, but the minute they get a win, everybody's damn Ebo this, Ebo, I'm Ebo. Shout out to Ebo. They make sure to delineate. Family, don't let nobody ever shame you as a foundational Black American for paying homage to your foundational Black American lineage. Don't ever let nobody shame you, because that's the name of the game, to shame us out of recognizing our lineage and make it seem like we're being divisive for looking out and acknowledging and giving respect and protecting the legacy of our foundational Black American ancestry. While they double dip, ladies and gentlemen, these people have been double dipping, and that is a problem. But just breaking down Shaboozey's apology letter, I can't call this an apology. This is his double down letter. But all of that that's that forced merger shit. That ain't unity. We Black people built this country. Yeah, you're deliberately collapsing distinct historical lineages. And you're breaking it down into a single Black category. No. That forces foundational Black Americans to share authorship of American nation building with people whose ancestors were not present here, but their ancestors actually sold some of us and left us for damn dead. Do I need to open up that side of it? I'll do that later. I won't do that now. That's another rabbit hole if we're going to go there, but let's just stay on the surface. I don't want to get that deep. Let me stay on the surface. That wasn't an apology. Yeah. A real apology clarifies harm and it restores accuracy. His statement does the opposite. It reframed the original disrespect into a broader narrative where foundational Black Americans, we have to share credit for what we've done. No, that's called revision. Yeah. And let me tell you something, man. That is a colonization tactic. I keep telling people the Tether class have a colonizer mindset when it comes to us. They come around us thinking like colonizers. See, colonization follows this pattern. You enter a space built by another group, one, then you, two, claim shared ownership. Hey, this is ours. Then you redefine history as collective, and then you eventually replace the original people in the story. That's colonization. See, I'm telling you, all the shit that these people do is hostile. It's not unity. Don't let them fool you and shame you with unity. If we call them out, xenophobic nigga, unity, why you're divisive? Why you divisive? You're hating on me because I'm an immigrant. Why are you divisive? All of that is to stop you from checking their disrespect and their co-opting. That has to be checked. They're trying to do a colonizer move. They're trying to do a hostile takeover. When we say, hey, wait, back that thing up. What is this shit? Did Tariq put you up to this shit? What is this shit? No. You're not going to just colonize. No, you're not going to colonize us. See, this is why they always trying to come around us. Notice that the Tethers, they do what colonizers do. What do colonizers do? Colonizers show up and try to rename everybody. That's the first thing colonizers do.
So, family, I'm telling you, that wasn't an apology. He didn't clear up anything. He just doubled down on what he was saying because he knows that immigrants didn't build anything here, right? I showed the numbers prior to after the Industrial Revolution and after World War I. We were the ones here fighting all the wars. We was the ones plowing the roads. We were the ones doing, bringing the inventions, being innovative. It was us. And all we're saying is we want that to be acknowledged. See, the world goes out of their way to only show us in the light of dancing, music, being real N-words, bad B's, but they don't never ever talk about our innovations. They don't never talk about just so many things of what we did as far as building the country, right? You guys were slaves. Well, if we were slaves and then we went through Jim Crow and black codes, what were we doing? We were the ones building everything, right? We were the ones, we was the ones, the original foundation of America. We were those people. I showed this already, right? African leaders drew inspiration from what we were doing. Why is it so hard? Why is it a problem when we want the world to recognize us for our inventions, right? Not just for our dance, right? Recognize that if you're going to recognize it through music, that genre of music that he won that award for, right? He should have said, I want to thank Foundational Black Americans for creating this great genre of music that me as a black immigrant, I can come here now and win an award for because they laid the road for us. If you want to go there, but no, you just go and say that immigrants built the country. Well, we just get erased because we ain't immigrants. So if immigrants built the country, then who are we? What are we? Because we damn sure ain't immigrants. That's the issue, man. That's a lot of you Pan-Africans, man, y'all need to stop being so disingenuous. And just stand on the truth, man. You can still be a Pan-African, but what's wrong with being all those other groups in Africa that you say practice Pan-Africans, they still practice nationalism. They still say that they're South African. They still say that they're tribal names. So why can't we have ours? Why can't we have ours? So if you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.